It's Sunday Night Live! With your host, Putty Man. Ladies and gentlemen, Putty Man! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of Sunday Night Live. I'm your host, Putty Man, and today we're doing something quite different than you guys are used to. This is a recap show of Saturday Night Live, the last episode, and as well a discussion show that will hopefully expand into something a little more. I even thought down the road I might even go ahead and do some sketches, things of that nature, some fun stuff to get people laughing. But first and foremost, welcome. I wasn't expecting a big audience. This is just me wanting to talk about a show that I love, that, quite honestly, doing the poll that I did today, a lot of people don't love, but I have a younger audience that wouldn't understand it. So, with that being said, first and foremost, for those that are here, thank you, and welcome to the first episode of Sunday Night Live. Now, the reason I started doing this is for a few reasons. One, I've been a fan of the show ever since I was a little kid. Chris Farley, Adam Sandler, a lot of those big celebrities got their start on Saturday Night Live, and I was and Mike Myers, and I was a huge fan, and I followed it for years, even when people said it was the worst. And it's funny, the people that watched Saturday Night Live before, there was the teenage years, and you'd follow it to your adulthood, from teenage to adult, that you would have your favorite celebrity that would become huge, like people that watched it for Will Ferrell. I know last season they were actually using actual celebrities like Jim Carrey to play President Biden. Of course, they had Alec Baldwin playing Donald Trump. So it was a big difference for a little while. But anyway, with that being said, this is probably going to be about an hour stream. And then, of course, if things get better and better when it comes to the whole series, it'll be good. I'll be doing this every Sunday. It's going to be something I want to do for myself. And I want to expand a little bit on the audience when it comes to things I love that a lot of my regulars may not love. So if you're here for the hours, thank you for the views. I appreciate it. But I'm hoping that the algorithm will eventually put this out for people that watch Saturday Night Live. Now, I did realize that Saturday Night Live does post every single one of their videos on YouTube. So if you look in the description below, you can see there's links to every single sketch I'm going to talk about today. So if you see me talk about a sketch, you're like, oh, I really want to see that, especially one that I'm going to go down the road that I think at least my younger viewers are going to love, then you could definitely find that sketch in the description below. But we are going to recap the show, recap what happened in this episode, so on and so forth. And also, we are going to do this one a little differently than we'll do later episodes, because we are going to be talking about the new cast of Saturday Night Live as well. So the first thing I want to go ahead and start off with is the cold open. So for those that may not be familiar, they're watching my channel, and if you're a Saturday Night Live fan, you know what I'm talking about. But we're going to go ahead and just explain this now, since it is the first episode. In next episodes, we won't explain this as much. But the first thing is what they call the cold opening. It's the first sketch that opens up the show, and it's usually a political sketch. 90% of the time, it's a political sketch or something dealing with a celebrity. Like I remember last season, they did a Britney Spears talk show sketch, which dealt with her and her madness that she's been dealing with. And today, we're going to be talking about well, quite honestly, the Biden sketch that happened. It's a cold open sketch. The person you're seeing here is actually a new cast member. His name, I'm actually going to get it right now since I'm still learning the new cast member's name. His name is, actually his is easy, James Austin Johnson. And actually this episode, he actually gets a lot of screen time. So I'm guessing Lauren Michaels, which is the producer and creator of Saturday Night Live, sees a lot of potential in him as far as doing characters and so on and so forth. So it looks like this season he's going to be playing President Biden for the next few seasons, and so that'll move on as well. Now we do see we do start seeing some of the regular cast as well as we go through. So for example, we do see Cecily Strong here is playing Senator Kristen Sinema. Now understand, I'm going to say these names. I don't know any of these political figures outside of Biden. I know Cecily Strong is really well known with Saturday Night Live. She's been there for a long time, but she's definitely playing the first person we see beside Biden. And basically, what this cold open is about Biden introducing other Democratic senators and executives that are out there. It's more on the humor of him not understanding his staff, or his staff being a little bit crazy. That's the way you put it. So we won't go too deep into this as well. And what we'll do is we'll actually try to go through without having to skip actually go through each one individually. So let me see if I can get a wide shot of them all. And we'll get some things. Okay. So we do see Ega Wodum, that's her name, the real actress's name, playing Representative Ilhan Omar. I've never heard her name before. And there is one other little sketch part where Biden apparently can't say the name of one of the executives here, so he just calls her AOC, short abbreviating her first, middle, and last initial, and that is played by Melissa Villasenor. And then, of course, a lot of people might know more of Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson actually dated Ariana Grande, and he's playing Andrew Cuomo. In this sketch. So we have Alex Moffat that plays Chuck Schumer. Pete Davidson is Governor Cuomo. Melissa Villasenor is AOC. And then we have Amy Bryant, which is actually a female, playing a male Senator Joe Manchin. So I don't want to go into detail about this. I feel like this sketch was a little boring if you're not into political humor. But if you definitely are into political humor, this will probably be the sketch. And then actually, it's again, if you're looking to see this sketch, it's in the description below. If you're not, we're going to go ahead and move on to the actual thing. Now, for those unfamiliar with SNL as well, they always say at the end, live from New York, it's Saturday night. And then of course, they go into talking about the cast, like Mikey Day. Now, Mikey Day is probably the only one that a lot of people might know that are younger, because he was on Nick Cannon's Wallin' Out. So he was he actually has a lot of skills as a character actor, rapping. He does a lot of good things. So I'm kind of glad Mikey Day came up. The most notable one is probably going to be right here, who I was just trying to bring up. We saw him there right there. Kenan Thompson. If you remember, he was from Kenan and Kel, all that. He also played Fat Albert in the Fat Albert movie. He is probably the most well-known cast member that's on there right now, and he's been on there for years now. He's the longest-running cast member ever on Saturday Night Live history. So we'll definitely skip through that. But I will state that this season we did lose 2 cast members from last season. That's Beck Bennett and Lauren Holt. She's a featured cast member. I will state that both Chloe Fineman and Bowen Young both moved into featured cast members, from featured cast member to main cast member. What that means is featured means they're kind of on the ropes of being a main cast member, and main cast members get a lot more jobs, they get a lot more writing, so on and so forth. We do have 3 new featured cast members, and that's Aristide Athari, James Onstead Johnson, and Sarah Sherman. I know I butchered that one guy's name. We do have 2 featured cast members that are returning that were Andrew Dismukes and Punky Johnson. All the other casts are here. Bowen Yang and Chloe Fineman both moved up. The rest of the cast are all here. The only cast member we lost this season was Beck Bennett. And I don't know why he left, especially since him and Kyle Mooney started together on YouTube. But I guess Beck Bennett decided to move on to do his own thing. So, and then, of course, we do have the host. The host this episode is excuse me, let me go ahead and get a good shot of him. Sorry, I'm having a moment. Owen Wilson. The musical guest I actually never heard of. Kacey Musgraves is the musical guest of this season. And so I didn't know about her until I watched this and looked her up, and I still don't have really any interest in her. Owen Wilson, on the other hand, he's been he's not cast member, but he's been a host before, and there's going to be a sketch. If you're not familiar with who he is, don't worry, we're going to get into a sketch that'll make you familiar with what he does, because he does a voice of a certain Pixar character that a lot of people love and don't realize he does the voice of it, but he's also an actor that's been in Wedding Crashers, Hall Pass, and a lot of other movies. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to the first sketch of the show. And by the way, his monologue was basically him riffing on him and his brothers Luke Wilson and his life as an actor. So monologues, if you're not familiar with monologues, they basically do something funny that they wrote, not what the writers wrote, or something that the writers worked with him to make it more personal, him or her, depending on who's ever hosting. So definitely he was the one that what's the word for it? He just basically talked about his family, and his brothers were in the audience, and you'll see his brother later on. He's actually in a sketch later on. And again, if any of these sound interesting as we go along, I do have links in the description where you can watch it on either on Peacock, the actual streaming service for NBC, or you can watch each of these sketches on YouTube. All right, so the first sketch we actually get, and we'll get to it right now, is a talk show called The Talking. I've never heard of it before. It's kind of like The View. It's a very female-oriented show. But we'll go through the cast right here, as I have them here, because I have everything set up. So, The Talking, this is actually, I can say these names without looking. It's Cecily Strong, Aidy Bryant. Now, I don't know the characters they're playing in the sketch, but I'll just tell you who they are. Heidi Garner, and then Ego Wodum are playing these. Aidy Bryant actually has her own show on Hulu Plus now, if you want to go see it. It's a funny show. And she's been in, lately, the thing is, most recent thing she's been in is a commercial for pants where she's dancing, and she's like, oh, I'm a dancer now. That's pretty much who Aidy Bryant is. But in this sketch, Owen Wilson, the host of the show, comes into each cast character, telling her first that she has that she was tested for COVID, and he tells everyone on air that that she got it. Well, then at the same time, that same doctor comes back saying, were you in contact with anybody with COVID? And she's like, well, yes, my friend that was sitting right beside me. And the doctor's like, oh, well, of course you've got it as well. It's a whole joke on how they're all just not all saying they got shots, but then they all got COVID no matter what. It's a whole joke. It was, for me, honestly, this was the boringest sketch in the whole show. There's second to another one that comes later. It's really not the best sketch in the world in my eyes. It was kind of boring. But again, it's something they always like to play and make sure that they hit on something for everyone. You know what I mean? Younger, older, um, male, female, so on and so forth. So that's what I felt like the talking was more of a female. And here's where Owen Wilson's bringing in the news as a doctor to each of the girls, telling them that they had to be escorted out because they have COVID. So a lot more jokes on COVID this year than they did last year. If I was to give it a rating 1 out of 10, I would say 3 for this sketch. Wasn't that hilarious? Okay. Next, we have a sketch for Paramount Plus. It's an exclusive commercial for a show they're calling Star Trek Eagle Quest. This is probably one of my favorite sketches in the world. Okay, so the reason this is I don't know if you know who Jeff Bezos is, but Jeff Bezos runs Amazon.com. And in this sketch, it's him, an old lady, his brother, which is actually played by Luke Wilson's brother, but it's Jeff Bezos, the runner of Amazon, his brother, and they're basically playing Star Trek characters where they fight other people in space. But the funny part about this is who they're fighting in space. So if you look here, the narrator even makes a joke, and I even made a note about it. The narrator makes a joke about how the Amazon ship, and I'm talking about Amazon Prime, like Little Amazon, looks like a penis. I'm just going to say it. He literally says it. The narrator says, Amazon ship that looks like a penis. It's no joke. I'm being serious. Anyway. Yeah, off-brand The View. Exactly, off-brand The View. But anyway. And so the episode continues where you do eventually see... I'm going to try to get over here. I don't know if you guys know who Russell Brand is, but the whole joke on this is this. Both Elon Musk and Russell Brand is with Virgin Mobile, and Elon Musk is, of course, with SpaceX. They both have a spaceship in space, or they're trying to put a spaceship in space. So Amazon's trying to do the same thing, and they made Amazon the Star Trek ship going after these. So we do have him playing Elon Musk, which, by the way, one of the best lines ever actually comes from this guy here. He's trying to play Elon Musk here, and the other guy is supposed to be let me look for the name real quick. I wrote it down. I cannot find it right there. Richard Branson, that's the name. Richard Branson's hosting the Virgin Mobile ship. Elon Musk has SpaceX, but actually Elon Musk actually makes, or the guy that's playing Elon Musk, which is Mikey Day, makes a joke here. He says that beating the Amazon ship is his prime objective. Hopefully you understand what he means. Amazon Prime, his prime objective. It's funnier when you see it again. I would love to be able to play these clips, but of course NBC would not allow me to. So all I can do is show it to you, all right? So basically, Amazon has a penis ship. They're the Star Trek ship. They end up fighting. Elon Musk's SpaceX ship, and Richard Branson's Virgin Mobile ship, or Virgin ship, whatever you want to call it. And Elon Musk makes a joke that it's his prime objective. That's pretty much it. And then, of course, they show how he treats his employees, and that's when he shows a delivery guy and then sends the delivery guy off to pee in a bottle and all that kind of stuff. It was a bad ending, but I will say the jokes between Elon Musk and Richard Branson were pretty funny, actually. Owen Wilson playing Jeff Bezos was pretty funny to me. So, all right. Now, that's probably the next sketch. This one I would definitely give more of like a 7 or 6 out of 10. Second best sketch of the night, maybe third best, I'm not sure. The next sketch is probably my favorite overall, and it's really dark too, by the way, guys. It's really dark, all right? So let's go ahead and get into that episode right now. All right, give me a second. Okay. Oh. All right, so we see here Pixar Studios, and this is actually the next sketch, which is based on Owen Wilson being a voice actor. And if you're not familiar, Owen Wilson, the host of the show, is actually the voice of Lightning McQueen in Cars. So both Mikey Day and Punky Johnson are playing like directors to the Pixar. And they're currently saying they're shooting the new Cars 4 thing. movie. Okay, so Owen is doing the voice of Lightning McQueen in this episode, but things turn dark. For example, Lightning McQueen starts hitting on a younger girl, and the husband gets mad because he's literally trying to hit on his wife. And then things get even more and more darker, where Lightning McQueen now hits on a underage girl, and his father's there, and it's like it gets really, really dark. Okay, and then what happens is they have a guy come in, one of the actors from Saturday Night Live, actually one of the new actors from Saturday Night Live. Let me get to it real quick, and he's actually doing the voice of Larry the Cable Guy. And he's playing Rusty, or was it Rusty? No, Mater. He's playing Mater. And in this episode, they're talking about how Lightning McQueen is... And keep in mind, this whole time Owen Wilson is disagreeing with it. He's like, this is not how a Cars movie is. Wow, you don't... This is the worst lines ever. And towards... I'll explain why he ends up keep going with it. But of course, Larry the Cable Guy, or an actor playing Larry the Guy, which actually is the new actor I talked about earlier that played Biden, he again is playing another character in the show, and he's a new cast member. So I think Lorne Michaels sees a lot in this guy, and he's giving him more screen time than any of the other new actors. All right. So, of course, the guy that's playing Larry the Cable Guy, aka Mater, is talking about how Lightning McQueen is now on trial because of all his sexual advances towards women, or women cars in the sketch. So then, all of a sudden, Mater's getting made fun of by Lightning McQueen and everything. He wins the tournament, and he's calling the R word, quote, the R word, not Rusty, another word I'm not going to say out loud. He's calling him that name. He's not actually calling him that name, but he's referencing it. And he's like, I won't do that. He's like, it's Rusty. You're not saying anything else. And then he literally has a line where he actually says the word, and he stops himself. But what makes this even worse and makes this even funnier is that towards the end of the episode, okay, hold on. Rusty, I'm trying to get to the part where it shows it. Oh, there it is. Lightning McQueen starts hitting on Mater's sister, a.k.a. Larry the Cable Guy. And that's to the point where Owen Wilson's like, dude, this is not how a Disney movie is. This is not how a Pixar movie is. I did not sign up for this. And towards the end, Mikey Day comes in with paperwork saying, oh, yeah, you did sign up for this, and shows him how much he's getting paid. And Owen Wilson's like, okay, we'll do it. And then they basically end the sketch there. You know what I mean? But it's a really, 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 really dark sketch. It's really funny because he does the ka-chow line a whole bunch of times. And just to hear Lightning McQueen say some of the stuff he says on here from Cars is really hilarious. I'm surprised they got away with this. Like, I feel like this was something Disney probably would have sued him for. This was the dark sketch right here, and it's in the description below. So if you want to see the Cars 4 sketch that they did on Saturday Night Live, it's in the description. It's called Cars 4. I definitely say go watch it. It's hilarious. And that being said, let's move on to the next sketch. Okay, so the next sketch is what they're calling the school board meeting, and it's more like a central television. This one has a lot to go through. They've done this on Saturday Night Live before, where they'll have like town halls, a school board meeting, and it's a chance for a lot of the cast to play different characters that they're choosing. Like, for example, and I'll show you an example. Oh, we got Punky Johnson and Chris Redd. Now, Chris Redd's actually been in movies before. If you've seen Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping, he was actually in that movie, and he's been in a few other movies as well. But in this part, and I'll use this as an example since I wrote down every single one of these characters. Punky Johnson is actually talking about her son, Chris Redd, and how she wants him to play football, but they didn't allow him to play. And she's like, well, that's surprising. Does he have a shot? She goes, yeah, he's got a COVID shot. And they're like, well, they should have let him play. And they go, what kind of COVID shot do you have? And she goes, Mike's Hard COVID shot, which is Mike's Hard Lemonade, but it's Mike's Hard vaccine. It's, again, each of the characters, there's a bunch of them that are pretty funny. Like Mikey Day's character is pretty funny. And it's more on physical humor and the way he looks and the way he talks. So this sketch was more of pointing out each character. Like, for example, at one point we see these two teams right here, probably one of my favorite. Again, this school board meeting is about the COVID vaccine and how all the kids need to be vaccinated. And Pete Davidson, well, not Pete Davidson, but these two people, which is I'm forgetting their names. I have it written here. It's where's it at? I'm not even finding it anymore. Oh, here it is. So this is Andrew Dismukes and then Colin Mooney. And these are both teenager questions why they can't play their video games in class. And so he gets mad because Mikey Ego Wodum, the one that's in the board meeting, says, well, you're in school. You're supposed to be learning. And as he walks out, he's like, well, screw you, bitch, and walks off and everything. Just because they wouldn't let him game to school. So it hit more home for me because the whole playing video games in school, which is really kind of funny anyway. And I felt like that was probably the only one I can get close to that would be funny. We do have Pete Davidson dressed up as Dog the Bounty Hunter, if you've ever heard of him before. Which he's a reality show star. I don't know. Anyway, my point to the whole thing is they do these off and on where people get to play different characters in the school board meeting. And so it's one of those things that if you like character-driven comedy, like for example, this is Bowen Yang and he's playing a stoner, but the stoner is like going after both Obama and Hillary Clinton. So it's just a little bit out there. Again, I feel like this one should be moved on because I'm not going to go into detail to each one. So if you want to see the sketch, again, it's called School Board Meeting. It's in the description below. You can definitely check it out. All right. Then after that sketch, we end up having the performance by Kacey Musgraves. It's her first performance of a song called Justified. Have no idea. Just heard it for the first time on this show. Honestly, don't really care about it. I'll be honest. So we're going to move on from that one. So, of course, every single time you have the musical guest, then you end up moving on to Weekend Update. And for those who don't know, it's basically a sketch comedy news desk with Colin Jost and Michael Che. Colin Jost, though, I can tell you this, he's actually married to Scarlett Johansson, a.k.a. Black Widow from the Marvel Universe. So if you're wondering who she's married to this guy right here. And Michael Che is a great comedian. He has a series on Netflix you should go check out. I think it's called something. It's got his name in it. It's called Michael Che something. I can't remember exactly what it's about. But with that being said, we do end up seeing them do some of their comedy about infrastructure. It looks like a newscast, basically, is what they do here. And then they'll have people that will come on. Oh, and this is probably my favorite joke right here, which is really, really dark. But apparently there's a campaign to get R. Kelly's music removed from streaming services. And so people are on a campaign to get it down. And Michael Che says, it's funny. It's funny that they're trying to take him off streaming services when streaming is what got him in trouble in the first place. And if you don't get it, I'm not going to explain it. That's all I'm going to say. All right? That's all I'm going to say. If you don't get it, you don't get it. All right? Go look up what R. Kelly did and then think about the word streaming and come back. All right? So then, of course, there's always people that play characters on Saturday Night Live. And she's playing a character. Apparently, there's some kind of controversy about how a black woman has been missing for 10 years and no one found her. So she's playing a character called a black woman who's been missing for 10 years. And she complains about how a white woman, they put all this stuff out like an Amber Alert, but for her, nothing. It's a funny sketch. Ego Wodum herself is funny, so I feel like that's what she did to bring to the chemistry to this episode. But it's more, it's more of a something that, to each their own and taste and everything. So it was okay. I like her. She's very funny. She even does a joke about how the closest thing they have to a movie about a black woman gone missing was a Medea movie. And that's pretty much what went from there. And then they moved on. Again, it's a funny skit, but it definitely wasn't something I was familiar with until Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live kind of always tends to keep me in the know of what's going on. Okay, next is the Pete Davidson skit of Weekend Update. Now, Pete Davidson, again, if you're not familiar, he used to date Ariana Grande. And if you know that song she did, Thank You Next, and she talks about a guy named Pete in the song, that's who she's talking about in the song, Pete Davidson, all right? And Here's the thing: Pete Davidson's a hilarious guy. He does sketch. He's done. Actually, he was in. If you don't know where he was actually in the newest Suicide Squad. He was one of the characters in the beginning of the movie that I won't say what happened to him. Let's just say he wasn't throughout the whole movie. Spoiler alert. Maybe I should have said that. Sorry. Anyway, and you'll see he's wearing a Norm Macdonald shirt and everything, which I'm going to get into that in just a second as well, which actually I teared up a little bit when Weekend Update happened. But he's talking about the Met Gala and what he wore at the Met Gala. Because he is a big celebrity and everything. So this is what he wore at the Met Gala. And apparently the Met Gala, they wear the craziest outfits they can. And so when he went to, he was the only person invited to the Met Gala. And of course, he wore a dress and made himself look really crazy. He's a stoner at heart. If I could ever meet Pete Davidson, I think me and him would get along. He's not really good at sketch comedy. He's just good at topical humor and talking about it, and that's the reason why he does a lot of Weekend Update where he talks about stuff. But I love that he wore a picture in dedication to Norm Macdonald on his shirt and everything, which we'll bring up now. At the end of Weekend Update, they do a dedication to Norm Macdonald, talking about how Norm Macdonald was their inspiration to be part of Weekend Update, and then they do show old Weekend Update clips of Norm Macdonald, which these really hit home for me because I grew up watching Norm Macdonald on Weekend Update. That's why I'm doing this show right now, guys. The reason I've decided to do Sunday Night Live is because I grew up watching Saturday Night Live and grew up watching Norm Macdonald. So to see him, them do a dedication to him. And he passed at 61 of cancer, and he didn't tell none of his friends. He didn't want nobody feeling sorry for him, so he only told close friends and told him not to tell any of his celebrity friends about it. So when he died, only one celebrity friend, he basically called his celebrity friends and said, "Hey, I love you." They had no idea why he did it, and then that was it, and then he died. And they had no idea, he wanted to make sure that they knew he loved them, but he didn't want them to make a big deal out of his death. So Norm's going to be missed. And if you haven't seen him, he was actually in Billy Madison. If you remember watching the movie Billy Madison, Adam Sandler movie Billy Madison, he was the friend that always stuck at the pool. That's Norm Macdonald. And he also has a great movie called Dirty Work. If you haven't seen it yet, it's currently on HBO Max. Go watch Dirty Work. It is an amazing movie with Norm Macdonald. I'm going to miss him, and it makes me sad to think about it. But we have to move on, and that's why I'm doing this show. Why I'm doing Sunday Night Live is because I miss a lot of these people that have passed away. Chris Farley, Phil Hartman, actors that keep passing away that were had big roles in Saturday Night Live and the movies. And so I wanted to be able to show my love for Saturday Night Live. And now that I am a live streamer and a content creator, I felt like this is a perfect example of making a new series called Sunday Night Live. So yes, this will be every Sunday at 11 o'clock. Our show. Hopefully eventually we'll get some people that are actually fans that want to come on and talk, or we'll even do other stuff maybe even talk about movies that people are, that some of these people are in as well. So with that, let's continue. Okay, so after Weekend Update, we go into our next sketch, which is about it's actually a funeral. Okay, so in the funeral, there's a family. First off, the priest is played by Owen Wilson, the host. And the lady that died, her name is Marion Lewis. And she's actually being played by, and by the way, if I forget names, I'm just having to look up him. Heidi Gardner. Heidi Gardner, she's still pretty new, but she's been on there for a while. But she's playing Marion Lewis. And her family's in the audience, or family's at the funeral watching. And come to find out, the Marion Lewis was a fan of a singer. The singer is called, apparently it's a fake singer that she made up, but it's a lounge singer. His name is LeVar B. Burton. He keeps on saying, make sure you say the B. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get on with the sketch. Here's the funny part about this sketch, if you know topical humor. R. Kelly, he's a singer. He sang I Believe I Can Fly, and other songs. He's currently going to court for some bad stuff he did with a girl, doing some stuff to her he shouldn't have. So in this, when he comes to sing at her funeral, her choice of song was an R. Kelly song, which her family is like, that's dark. Why would you sing that? Our mom or Nana, what really wanted you to sing an R. Kelly song. But then the R. Kelly song's not even the worst. It gets even darker and darker. As he's singing, they're showing like, by the way, here's the family and the audience watching and everything. And they're confused by why he's singing R. Kelly song, okay? But then as things go on, things get worse. And I'm going to show you why. As he's singing, they're showing pictures of people she knows, meets. Hold on, let me back it up a little bit. Oh, there we go. So they I'm going to try to like play it without like getting in trouble. It's so hard to, okay. So they show her meeting up with very, very dark people. Like they show that she's friends with Donald Trump. I'm trying to get to the other one too. Come on. It's so hard skipping around when you have very little. Okay, well, I'll try to just say it. Oh, there it is. They show that she's friends with Louis C.K., Donald Trump, Bill Cosby, and Kevin Spacey, to make matters worse. And so then, like the family's distraught because they didn't know their grandma or nana was like friends with all these horrible people. And so she tells him to sing a different song, and he ends up singing R. Kelly's remix to Ignition. Again, me recapping these don't do them justice unless you watch. But if you don't know how bad Kevin Spacey, Bill Cosby, Donald Trump, and Louis C.K. and R. Kelly are, then the joke's gonna fly over your head. You know what I mean? So basically, it's basically, oh, their nana didn't know that they knew about, or that she was friends with some of these very, very horrible people. And then a sketch just basically ends with him singing another R. Kelly song. This was probably the one of the three I told you that I liked. Not as much as the Pixar sketch, aka the Cars 4 sketch. The Cars 4 sketch is still better than this one, but this went to a darker place than anything else. So, again, if you're a lot younger, you're not going to understand the joke behind this one. And that's the reason why Saturday Night Live has always been focused for adults, not kids. Because it's got much more darker political humor that only an adult would know in those situations. So, anyway, let's go and continue. All right. So the next we have the musical performance again. They always have two musical performances from the same musical guest. So Kacey Musgraves was the musical guest, as I said earlier. This is her second performance of the night. All right. In this performance, she sings a song called "Camera Roll." Never heard it. It's okay. It's kind of cute, I should say. No, it's not. Honestly, I don't know. I kind of zoned out when this song was playing. So if you are a Kacey Musgraves fan, I did put both of the performances in the description below. But if you're not, that's fine, and we'll move on from there. All right. Next sketch we have is the NFL on Fox sketch. Now, you'll see on the left-hand side, remember that actor I told you earlier that's new to this season? Again, he's getting a lot of camera time this season, which makes me think that Lauren sees something in him, but he is good as a character actor. And then, of course, we see Owen Wilson. He's actually playing Troy Aikman. If you know football, Troy Aikman was a huge football player back in the day, and now he's playing an announcer. And this guy's playing Joe Buck. The joke of this actually has nothing to do with football. The joke of this is actually an advertisement that's going on for a show called Crazy House that you can see at the bottom here. And as it's going along, Troy Aikman starts asking questions like, who's this character? Who's this character? What the hell? And then they start bringing more and more in, like a puppet and the two girls. And it gets more weirder and weirder, where the two girls are with a puppet, and then they find out that on the show they live in the house but must fight social justice through the house. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's hilarious if you understand what's going on. And then it even gets even worse because as they're going along, they're showing like bigger clips of the characters. And I know this will be probably the one thing that would be close to you guys, where you're like, oh my god, I know that guy. At one point, they show. Let me see if I can get to it real quick. If I can get to it. Oh yeah, I may have to just play it real quick. I'm trying not to get copyright on it, because I feel like if I play too much of it and everything. There it is. Oh, I just saw there it is. I just passed it up and everything. And then they find out the show actually has the baby in it, and he's living in the household with the puppet and the two girls as well. Again, it's hard to explain the sketch, but I think it's more funny if you guys actually see it. But it's a whole thing about how when you watch football, they're advertising TV shows on that network, like on Fox or anything else, and so they're making a whole big joke about how they're advertising more of this show called Crazy House than actually showing the football game itself. So, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. You know what I mean? That's pretty much what's going on in this sketch, and it's probably my third favorite sketch of the whole one. The first one, number one, would be Cars 4. This probably my second one, and then the funeral one is my third favorite sketch of the night. And then, of course, we go into the final sketch. Now, this one is a little bit weird. This is where I'm like, I feel like Saturday Night Live is like going really odd. This one's called, well, it's basically Owen Wilson is a director, and these are two doctors, all right? And they run a company called Robinson's Mail-In Stool Testing. And basically what it is, you send in your stool to be tested for diseases or for sicknesses, but the whole bad joke about it is the doctors keep on saying that they actually pull out the stool but will not play with it, but they're insinuating they won't play with it like actually they would play with it. And it even gets more weirder where a mailman comes in, the mailman that delivers poop basically, or your stool, to them, and like he's got the most like sinister face, like, you know, we'll play with your stool. It's really weird. It's one of those things you have to kind of watch it to see it for yourself. It's a really, really bizarre sketch. And it's one that I honestly did not. I'm not saying I didn't like it, but it was really I've never seen SNL go to poop humor. Like poop humor is just crazy weird. But what Lauren does is he lets a lot of younger actors that are in their early 20s take the roles of writers, and they feel if a younger audience likes it, they're going to show it. So that's pretty much what's going on here when it comes to this sketch. And then, of course, we end the show, cast, of course, like, as they usually do, cast meets at the end, saying goodnight. They're still wearing masks and everything. People have their shots, but they're still wearing masks and everything. I don't know why Colin Jost doesn't wear it. Band usually, not a lot of the band members usually wear them. I think the people that, I don't know why some people wear masks and certain people, I don't know what the situation is, but anyway. And then that ends the show. Now, like I said, I will say my favorite ones, the favorite things that happened tonight definitely would be the car sketch. I feel like that was probably the funniest one ever, especially since Owen Wilson is the voice of Lightning McQueen. And for them to get away with that on Saturday Night Live was amazing. I did like the board meeting, but only certain characters in the board meeting made me laugh. When it came to those characters. Definitely. I did like the weekend update with Pete Davidson, and I did like the dedication to Norm Macdonald, so I'm glad they did do that because he does deserve it. This was probably the darkest sketch of them all. And if you're probably going to watch it and say, it doesn't seem as dark, but when you know the characters they're implying on here, as far as like the celebrities that have done bad things kind of situation, you'll understand the darkness of that sketch, especially when you're dealing with a funeral, you know what I mean? Things of that nature. And again, as far as any other sketches outside of that, it definitely would be the NFL on Fox. This one just had a more lighthearted humor to it about how they advertise way too much on sporting events and never actually show the sport. They just talk about the ads at the bottom of the screen. So again, in the description, all of the sketches are in the description below. You can link them and check them out and everything. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and discuss what we're going to do next. Now, before I end everything, I do see people coming in that are regulars from my other streams. Guys, keep in mind, when I ever do the Sunday Night Live stream, I'm going to be focusing on the stream itself and the show. So I do apologize if I'm not responding and talking to anyone. But I do appreciate you guys coming in and dropping a like and saying hi to me, and I appreciate that. So Sunday Night Live streams will be so much different than usual and everything. Bryson, I don't know if you're going to be able to hit it in like 10 minutes because this is only an hour show. So we may have to save that as a special event for tomorrow. Which, Bryson, I feel like you might want to hit 1,000 in the Fortnite stream anyway. You know what I mean? You probably want to wait and hit that in Fortnite so that way everyone can see it. Because not many people are here, and I expected this not to be a bigger stream. This is more of a personal stream. You know what I mean, guys? So with that being said, I do want to explain that whenever there's going to be a rerun of Saturday Night Live, which, by the way, I am watching through Hulu. Whenever there is a rerun of Saturday Night Live, I will be talking about Saturday Night Live movies. So I'll even show you guys an example of what I mean. If you guys aren't aware when it comes to Saturday Night Live and the TV show, let me see if I can get to this without showing too much. Like I said, I told you guys, I'm a big fan of Saturday Night Live, so I tend to make like lists of shows. So if we ever have a Sunday where we don't have an episode of Saturday Night Live, then we'll probably talk about new movies that are starring SNL cast members or anything like that. So one prime example is some of these are all movies that have people from Saturday Night Live in it. And some of these people you've probably seen: Will Ferrell, Adam Sandler, Andy Samberg. Let's see here, another one with Will Ferrell. And yeah, there's even some Marvel movies that have cast members. I will tell you this, and I'm going to show you guys this real quick, right? And then once I show you this, we'll call it a end of the stream situation, guys. All right, check this out, guys. This is going to blow your mind. All right. Actually, you know what? No, we're not going to do that here. I know exactly how we're going to look at this. Hold on a second. And I'm doing this for those that are watching this later down the road and are watching this because of Saturday Night Live and everything. I'm showing this to people in my stream that don't typically watch Saturday Night Live, but I want to give them a understanding of how big the show is. So I'm going to show you guys something. I'm going to try to see if I can find it. If not, I'll look it up and everything. Here, I'll just have to look it up. I'll even just look it up. All right. So you can see it right there. I've already pointed it out and everything, but I'm going to go ahead and just show you guys real quick. This was back in the day. This is Norm Macdonald, the one I told you that passed away. This is a sketch in Saturday Night Live. This is both Norm Macdonald was a cast member as well as this guy. Does this guy look familiar? This is Robert Downey Jr. He actually was a cast member. And I'm going to show you guys this to even flip your mind up even more. Let me see if I can get to it real quick. I think I skipped it right there. Hold on. Right there. Robert Downey Jr. and Will Ferrell in the sketch together. Iron Man and whatever character you want to look at with Will Ferrell. This is why I'm doing a Sunday Night Live. A lot of people don't realize a lot of their favorite celebrities stem from the show. They were cast members. They were a major part of it. They were huge in the world of SNL. It's amazing, guys, and that's the reason why I like doing these shows on Saturday Night Live and so on and so forth. Okay, guys, understand. This is a SNL stream, guys. We will talk about that tomorrow on the regular streams, guys. I want this to be a show that fans of Saturday Night Live can watch without having to hear stuff about anything else outside of it. Okay. And Bryson, thank you for answering that. By the way, I appreciate that. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I knew this would be short. I'm hoping the episodes expand and get better, but I'm going to continue doing this each Sunday, guys, and hoping that maybe we'll get people. So if you know somebody that loves Saturday Night Live and watches the show every week, tell them about this. Say every Sunday, someone I watch on YouTube at 11 p.m. Eastern Time every Sunday does a recap of Saturday Night Live. I think you and him would have fun having a discussion. He'll answer any questions that you want when it comes to the show, and he'll have a discussion with you as well. Again, Bryson, I'm going to go ahead and save your 1,000 hours for tomorrow. So we're going to try to stop it now so you don't reach it right now. Okay, brother? But guys, that's it. This is the show I wanted to make. I like that I did this. I'm very happy with the way it turned out. And we are going to be doing Sunday Night Live next Sunday as well. And then, of course, every day we're going to have our regular streams as well, as far as, like, Fortnite and so on and so forth. But again, I want to thank y'all for watching. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Bryson. I appreciate that. It's been a pleasure talking about this. Hopefully we'll get to expand this even more and do more discussions about things outside of the actual episode, but talk about movies, cast members, and so on and so forth. Maybe even talk about memories. I don't know who the host and the musical guest for next week is, but we will discuss that when it happens next week. But that, as always, I am Putty with Putty. It's been a pleasure entertaining you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the regular stream. And as always, live from my bedroom. It's Sunday night, guys. Everyone have a splendid day. Go watch the sketches. If you like the Cars one, go watch the Cars one. It's in the description below. Oh, and personal note before I go, there is a bonus sketch I put in the description that wasn't on the show, that they always cut out one sketch that before in pre-rehearsal. That never happens. Go check it out. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Everyone have a fantastic night. Peace.